There is a biological switch in your brain that cannot tell the difference between a boardroom and a battlefield. At this very moment, if you were to step onto a stage or turn on a camera, your amygdala, the ancient alarm system of your mind, would send a frantic signal to your adrenal glands. Your pupils would dilate to track threats. Your digestion would shut down to conserve energy, giving you that hollow, sinking feeling in your gut. Your blood would rush away from your extremities and into your major muscle groups, preparing you to sprint for your life or fight a predator. This is why your hands shake. This is why your mouth goes dry. Your body isn't failing you. In fact, it is functioning perfectly. It is trying to save your life. The problem is, you aren't fighting a tiger. You're just giving a toast. You are pitching a client. You are recording a video. We call this stage fright. We treat it like a defect, a weakness to be medicated or meditated away. But what if I told you that the physical sensation of terror is biologically identical to the physical sensation of peak performance? The difference between a nervous wreck and a magnetic speaker isn't the absence of fear. It is the presence of a specific mental alchemy. By the end of this journey, you will understand how to hijack that primitive survival mechanism and convert that raw, nervous electricity into a presence so commanding that it doesn't just hold attention, it demands it. Welcome to the architecture of powerful delivery. Let's dismantle a lie you've been told your entire life. Just calm down. When you are standing in the wings, heart hammering against your ribs, well-meaning friends will tell you to take a deep breath and relax. This is actually the worst physiological advice you can follow. Here is the counterintuitive truth. To the human body, anxiety and excitement are the exact same thing. Both are states of high arousal. In both states, cortisol spikes. In both states, the heart rate elevates. In both states, the body is primed for action. The only difference between the two is the narrative your brain attaches to the sensation. A study conducted at Harvard Business School by Alison Wood Brooks demonstrated this phenomenon with startling clarity. She took subjects and forced them into a high-stress situation. Public singing. Before they went on, she asked one group to say, "I am anxious." She asked the second group to say, "I am calm." And she asked the third group to say, "I am excited." The group that tried to calm down failed. Why? Because you cannot slam the brakes on a car going 100 miles an hour without losing control. You cannot chemically downshift from high arousal, panic, to low arousal, calm, in a matter of seconds. It's biologically impossible. However, the group that said, "I am excited," outperformed everyone. They didn't try to lower the energy, they simply changed the label. They moved from high arousal negative to high arousal positive. This is the first shift you must make. When your hands start to tremble, do not try to stop them. That trembling is surplus energy waiting to be used. It is jet fuel. If you try to cap it, you will explode or implode, resulting in a stiff, wooden delivery. Instead, you must ride the wave. Visualize that shaking not as fear, but as a battery charging. That nervous energy is actually performance energy. It is the raw material of charisma. The most boring speakers in the world are the ones who are perfectly calm, because they have no adrenaline to transfer to the audience. But knowing how to reframe the feeling is only the first step. Once you've accepted the energy, you have to decide where to direct it. And most speakers direct it to the one place that guarantees failure. There is a spotlight on the stage. And because of that light, we suffer from a cognitive distortion known as the spotlight effect. We believe that every micro movement we make is being scrutinized. If we stumble over a word, we think the audience is writing off our credibility. If there is a pause, we think they are bored. We become hyper-obsessed with our own performance. This is the paradox of public speaking. Insecurity is actually a form of narcissism. When you are drowning in nervousness, you are thinking entirely about yourself. How do I look? Do I sound smart? What if I mess up? You have trapped your consciousness inside your own skull, and the audience can feel that separation. They sense you are pulling away from them to protect yourself. To turn nervous energy into power, you must perform a radical act of generosity. You must stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be helpful. Consider the difference between a performer and a mentor. A performer craves validation. A mentor craves transfer. If you see a child about to touch a hot stove, you don't hesitate. You don't worry if your voice sounds scratchy or if your posture is perfect. You yell, "Stop!" because you are entirely focused on their safety, not your image. Great speaking requires that same level of service. Before you speak, ask yourself, what gift do I have for these people? Maybe it's a piece of data that will save them money. Maybe it's a story that will make them feel less alone. Maybe it's a perspective that will solve a problem they've been agonizing over. When you shift your focus from "how am I doing" to "how are they doing," the biological threat response dampens. Your brain realizes you are not the prey, you are the provider. But here is the fascinating part. This isn't just a mindset trick. It changes how your audience biologically responds to you through a mechanism called mirror neurons. When you are tense, protecting yourself, the audience's mirror neurons fire and they feel tense. They feel your discomfort and they want you to leave the stage so they can stop feeling awkward. But when you are focused on them, open and generous, their mirror neurons register safety. They lean in. They lower their guard. You have now moved from fighting the room to leading the room. However, there is a trap that even the most generous speakers fall into. It happens in the silence, the moments between the words. This is where most people lose their power, not because of what they say, but because of how they handle the terrifying weight of nothingness. We are conditioned to believe that silence is an enemy. In a conversation, a silence of more than 4 seconds triggers a primitive social anxiety. We feel the need to fill the gap, to bridge the void, to keep the connection alive. When you are on stage, that 4 seconds feels like 4 hours. This is why the vast majority of speakers suffer from audible thinking. You know this sound. It is the 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 so, the like. These are not just bad habits. These are vocalized pleadings. When you say what you are subtextually telling the audience is, please don't leave me. I'm still here. I'm thinking. Hold on. It is a low status signal. It tells the room that you are afraid of losing their attention. But here is the power shift. In the animal kingdom and in the boardroom, the alpha, the leader, does not rush. They do not scramble to hold attention because they assume they already have it. Powerful delivery requires you to make friends with the void. You must learn to embrace the strategic pause. Consider the mechanics of processing information. When you speak a complex sentence, your audience needs time to digest it. They need to visualize what you just said, compare it to their own experiences, and store it in their memory. This takes metabolic energy. If you immediately rush into the next sentence without a pause, you are force-feeding them. You are creating cognitive backlog. Eventually, they will stop listening simply because they are full. Silence is the digestive system of your speech, but it does something else, something even more potent. Silence builds tension. Musicians know that music is not just the notes, it is the space between the notes. If you play every note at once, it's just noise. If you speak without stopping, it's just data. Try this exercise. The next time you finish a major point, stop. Count to 3 in your head. Do not look at your notes. Look at the audience. In that silence, you will feel the energy in the room rise. You will see their eyes widen. They are waiting for the resolution. You have turned a lecture into a thriller. You are no longer rushing to keep up with them. You are forcing them to wait for you. That is the definition of command. Now that we have slowed down the mind, we must address the instrument itself. The body. Most nervous energy manifests as tension in the upper chest and throat. When the fight or flight response triggers, we tend to take short, shallow breaths. This does 2 things. First, it deprives your brain of oxygen right when you need it most, leading to brain fog. Second, it tightens the vocal cords. This is why nervous speakers sound higher-pitched, strident, or shaky. But you can hack this system using the vagus nerve. This is the longest cranial nerve in the body, running from your brainstem down to your abdomen. It is the highway between your brain and your body, and it works both ways. If your brain feels fear, it tells the vagus nerve to speed up your heart. But, and this is the critical insight, if you consciously control your body, the vagus nerve will signal back to the brain that everything is safe. The hack is diaphragmatic resonance. Before you speak, and while you are speaking, you must drop your breath. Instead of breathing into your shoulders, which signals panic, breathe into your belly. When you speak from your diaphragm, your voice resonates in your chest, not your nose. This deeper resonant tone is evolutionary gold. Humans are biologically programmed to trust lower frequency sounds. A low, calm voice signals a large animal, a capable leader, a stable environment. A high, erratic voice signals a distressed animal, a warning of danger. When you drop your voice and slow your cadence, you are essentially acting as a nervous system regulator for your audience. Think about a late-night FM radio DJ. They are calm, they are slow, they are resonant. When you listen to them, your own heart rate slows down to match theirs. This is called entrainment. By controlling your breath, you control your voice. By controlling your voice, you control the audience's physiology. You are literally calming them down, which in turn makes them more receptive to your ideas. You are now standing confidently. You are reframing your anxiety as excitement. You are using silence to build authority. You are using your voice to induce trust. But even the most charismatic delivery will crumble if the structure of your ideas is flawed. You can have the presence of a king, but if your message is a maze, you will lose your subjects. There is a cognitive trap that smart people fall into more often than anyone else. It is a mental blind spot that makes your clear ideas sound like gibberish to everyone else. It's called the curse of knowledge, and overcoming it is the final key to unlocking total influence. In 1990, a Stanford University psychology student named Elizabeth Newton conducted a simple game. She assigned people into two roles, tappers and listeners. The tappers were given a list of 25 well-known songs, like Happy Birthday or The Star-Spangled Banner. Their job was to tap out the rhythm of the song on a table. The listener's job was to guess the song. Before they began, Newton asked the tappers to predict the success rate. The tappers were confident. They predicted that the listeners would guess correctly 50% of the time. The actual success rate was 2.5%. Why was there such a massive gap between expectation and reality? Because when a tapper taps, they hear the full symphony in their head. They hear the melody, the lyrics, the instrumentation. But the listener, they don't hear the music. They just hear a series of bizarre, disconnected thumps. This is the curse of knowledge. When you are speaking about your expertise, you are the tapper. You have lived with your ideas for years. You see the nuance, the history, and the context. But your audience is the listener. They just hear thumps. Nervous energy often compels us to speed up and skip the basics because we don't want to bore people. We dive straight into the complexity. We use acronyms. We use jargon. We assume the audience sees the movie playing in our heads. They don't. And when they can't follow the rhythm, they disengage. To fix this, you must practice contextual anchoring. Before you introduce a new, complex idea, you must anchor it to something they already understand. You must use a metaphor. Don't just say, "We are implementing a distributed ledger technology." That is a thump. Say, "Imagine a shared Google Doc that everyone can read, but no one can delete." That is a distributed ledger. Now, they hear the melody. Great delivery isn't just about how you say it. It's about the empathy required to translate your level 10 understanding into their level 1 language. Once you have bridged the knowledge gap, you have to make your words stick. Neuroscience tells us that the human brain is not designed to remember facts. It is designed to remember scenes. If I read you a list of 10 abstract adjectives, efficiency, synergy, optimization, you will forget them in 10 seconds. But if I describe a specific scene, a cracked coffee mug sitting on a mahogany desk, dripping onto a white carpet, you will remember that image tomorrow. This is because sensory language lights up the visual cortex. It bypasses the analytical filters and goes straight to the emotional center of the brain. Most nervous speakers retreat into abstraction. They use safe, corporate, sterilized language to hide. They say things like, "We faced significant challenges." That is forgettable. A powerful speaker turns that data into a movie. They say, "We were bleeding cash." The phone stopped ringing. The warehouse was silent. Do you feel the difference? One is information, the other is an experience. To channel your energy effectively, you must become a director of mental images. Don't tell the audience about a situation. Put them inside the situation. Use the VAC model: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. What did it look like? What did it sound like? What did it feel like? When you force your brain to retrieve these sensory details, something magical happens to your delivery. You naturally slow down. Your voice takes on a different texture because you are reliving the moment, not just reciting it. And because you are seeing it, the audience sees it. You are no longer a speaker standing in front of a crowd. You are a guide leading them through a shared hallucination. We have covered biology, mindset, silence, and language. But there is one final barrier that prevents good speakers from becoming legends. It is the fear of the mistake. We believe that authority requires perfection. We think that if we stutter, if we lose our place, or if the slide clicker breaks, the illusion is shattered. The opposite is true. In the 1960s, psychologist Elliot Aronson discovered a phenomenon called the pratfall effect. He recorded an actor answering quiz questions. In one version, the actor answered perfectly. In the second version, the actor answered perfectly, but then clumsily spilled a cup of coffee over himself. The audience rated the clumsy actor as significantly more likable and more trustworthy than the perfect one. Why? Because perfection is alienating. Perfection is artificial. We don't trust people who have no flaws because we know that humans have flaws. When you are too polished, the audience is subconsciously waiting for the crack in the armor. They are on guard. But when you make a mistake and you handle it with grace, you signal deep confidence. If you trip over a word, don't apologize. Don't shrink. Smile. Correct it. Move on. If your technology fails, don't panic. Make a joke about it. Well, the robots have finally decided to rebel. By acknowledging the glitch without letting it derail you, you are demonstrating status. You are showing that you are bigger than the problem. You are showing that your message is more important than your slide deck. This is the ultimate liberation. You do not need to be perfect to be powerful. In fact, your rough edges are often the hooks that the audience grabs onto. You have now assembled the components of a world-class communicator. You have the biological reframe, the outward focus, the command of silence, the resonant instrument, and the courage to be imperfect. But there is one final step. It is the difference between a technique and a transformation. It is the moment you stop doing public speaking and start being a conduit for change. We have dissected the anatomy of delivery. We have looked at the chemistry of cortisol, the physics of sound, and the psychology of perception. We have given you the tactical tools to hack your biology and steady your hands. But there is one final truth you must accept, one philosophical shift that binds all these elements together. You might be thinking that the goal of all this training is to reach a point where you no longer feel anything, where you step onto the stage or in front of the camera and feel numb, cool, detached. That is not the goal. If you ever reach a point where you feel zero adrenaline before a major moment, you are in trouble, because that means you no longer care. The shaking, the racing heart, the dry mouth, remember what we said at the very beginning? That is your body preparing for a high-stakes event. That is the physical manifestation of importance. It is your soul telling you, this matters. The greatest speakers in history, from Martin Luther King Jr. to Winston Churchill, to the best TED speakers of our era, never stopped feeling the fear. They just stopped letting the fear drive the car. They put fear in the passenger seat. They acknowledged it, but they kept their eyes on the road. You see, the audience does not come to see a robot. They do not come to see a perfectly calibrated machine that dispenses data. They come to see a human being. And to be human is to be vulnerable. To be human is to care so much about your message that your body literally vibrates with the intensity of it. When you stop trying to suppress that energy and instead allow it to flow through you, you become something more than a speaker. You become a vessel. You are simply the wire. The message is the electricity. Your only job is to offer the least amount of resistance possible so that the current can travel from you to them. When you tense up, when you hold your breath, when you try to look perfect, you create resistance. The wire heats up. The message gets distorted. But when you breathe, when you pause, when you look them in the eye and offer your truth with generosity, the resistance vanishes. The current flows, and the room lights up. So the next time you are standing in the wings, the next time the countdown clock is ticking, the next time your name is called and that familiar wave of panic rises in your chest, do not wish it away. Greet it. Recognize it for what it is. It is not an enemy trying to sabotage you. It is a source of power waiting to be tapped. It is the fuel for your fire. Take that deep, diaphragmatic breath. Feel the air expand your ribs. Feel your feet on the floor. Look at the people waiting for you. Realize that they are not your judges. They are your partners. They are waiting to be led. They are waiting to be moved. They are waiting for you. The world is full of noise. It is full of people talking just to hear themselves speak. It is full of empty confidence and polished nothingness. We do not need more of that. We need the real thing. We need the tremble in your voice that proves you believe what you are saying. We need the pause that proves you are thinking. We need the authentic, nervous, electric energy of a human being who dares to stand up and say, I have something to give you. Your voice is the most powerful tool you possess. Do not let fear silence it. Let fear sharpen it. Walk onto the stage. Take your space. Let the silence hang in the air for just a moment longer than feels comfortable. And then, begin.